Warning, there will be spoilers throughout this podcast. If you have not yet read or finished reading this book, we suggest that you stop here and come back after you have read the book. If you just don't give a shit, then keep on listening. Alrighty, hello, and welcome back. I am Nicole.
I'm Leah. I'm Mara, but I didn't read this book.
I'm Crystal. That was really
Yeah, what the hell? And this is Literaturely Obsessed.
Yay!
Music bed.
So in this episode, me, Leah, and partly Crystal, read Icebreaker
Icebreaker
by Hannah Grace.
Yay!
Something a little bit different from the last two episodes, because our last two episodes were fantasy.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is,
What would you call this?
I don't even know, is this just considered?
Contemporary?
Ooh, yeah, I think it's like
Contemporary
romance, contemporary romance.
Okay.
Although, there was not a lot of romance happening.
Yeah.
Lots of the other stuff though.
Just no romance.
I mean, it was straight up porn at some points.
Yeah.
Okay, ratings.
From what I read half of this book. I didn't finish it. I didn't do the reading assignment. But for me it was like a 3. It didn't change my life.
Right.
I think I rated it a 3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I rated like a 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't anything crazy.
No, I mean, it kept my attention,
Yeah.
definitely. It wasn't one of those books where I was like, God, I just have to get through this.
Yeah.
It definitely kept my attention, but it's not something where, it's not my type of book to begin with.
I don't
Right.
know if you ever saw this book on TikTok. I know me and Leah saw
Yes.
it on TikTok.
That's
And
literally the reason.
We were
Yeah.
just talking about this before we started recording. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna take another TikTok.
I know.
Ever again.
I know people made it sound like this was like such a good book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was just
Yeah.
like
I think people are. I think, and we talked about this once or twice. But like, I feel like these are people that did not read enough fan fiction in their youth.
Yes.
And
Yes.
suddenly they're just obsessed with anything like slightly like smutty. Although this wasn't slightly smutty, this was smut.
This
Yeah.
was straight up porn at parts.
Yeah.
like I don't get me wrong, like I like a spicy scene,
Yeah.
but like I need romance. Like
Yeah.
I need like actual like you have feelings for each
Yeah.
other. Like
Mhm.
these are growing characters
Yeah.
with like, you know, some depth.
Yeah.
You know?
I know people in real life have casual sex all the time, right? But like, I hate it in a book.
Right?
Because it just
Mhm.
makes it less significant when it actually happens.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
like
just
it's like okay,
And-
well, yeah, we were expecting them to hook
Yeah.
up, you know.
Anastasia's character, too, like, I couldn't stand her.
She was
I'm sorry. I related to her in one aspect of her type A personality, and I know you guys are going to be like, yes, Nicole.
And there was one
Um,
with her where I was reading about her planner.
Yeah.
How she's got everything written down from the moment she wakes up to the moment she goes to bed. And I was like, wow. She and Nicole would be good friends.
Me and her would probably be best friends on that aspect.
Uh-huh.
But I would also, she's a fucking pick-me.
She is,
Yeah.
She is a fucking
So-
pick-me girl to no end.
she's
Yeah.
such an ice queen.
Yes.
Not in a cute, like slave kind of way.
Yeah.
No, it was like she reminds me of the girls that I went to like that I was friends with in college and like right outside of college who were like, I'm skinny and I'm pretty and I can get any guy I want and like I'm gonna pretend like I don't like them, but when it's just me and him, I'm gonna be like the cutesy little type of girl.
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
I'm not trying to like shit on like the author, right?
Right.
But it just she felt like such a self-insert, like of what, and I don't know the author, but like I know if I read somebody like if I'm thinking of somebody writing this book, all I can think about is that them seeing themselves in Anastasia.
Yes.
And, like, being what they want to be.
Right.
That's the kind of
Do-
vibe that I got from this character.
Do you guys ever, like, I don't know if people talk about this on TikTok, and I'm probably gonna out myself big time right now, But do you guys like ever like when you're like laying in bed at night, like trying to go to sleep, like you play scenarios in your head of like things?
Yeah.
That's what this reminded me of.
Yeah,
but,
like
yep.
you
This is
know.
off topic, but like me and my friends have been talking about this. I never picture myself in my head. Like I'm seeing other characters.
Yeah.
Like
Really?
never myself.
Really?
But my friend does a thing where it's like
It's me.
like his like ideal self, like his
Yes.
ideal life, that kind of thing. That's not me.
Oh, I do that all the
I don't think
time.
about myself. Yeah, I don't think about like, oh, like I'm like say I'm laying in bed and like I'm not thinking about like who I'm gonna marry or like what house I want to live in. No, I'm creating stories in my head.
Well, I guess it's mine's kind of like both.
Yeah.
Maybe like it's like it kind of just like alternates
Oh, okay.
between.
Yeah.
Huh.
No. Yeah. No.
It's never just like
It's
constantly
never
like.
myself. I'm never thinking about myself.
Mine is always It's not just me. I'm like conceited as fuck.
No.
'Cause mine is like always me.
For me, I wanted to be a writer, like as a kid.
Okay,
I've always
okay.
wanted to be a writer. I've always like created characters. Like there are characters that I've created like 15 years ago that I still think about to this day. And if I ever wrote a book,
Hey, Crystal, write a book.
Right? Why are you not writing
I'm
a book?
probably not very good. I don't think I'm a good writer. Maybe I'll let you guys read something.
We should
sometime.
all try to write a short story.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
I would fail miserably.
I'm gonna go back to silence.
You can jump in on it.
Well, did you get a really high score on like one of your Florida Rights? You got
I
like
got
a
a
5.
Yeah.
I remember.
What the hell's a Florida right?
You've never done? Oh, you didn't grow up here.
I didn't grow up in Florida. I'm not from here.
I didn't grow up
Okay,
here.
so Florida Rights, we live in Florida. It is like a standardized test.
Yeah.
You take it once when you're in like the 4th grade, and then once when you're like in like the 8th grade, and I think you take it again when you're in the 9th grade. Something like
So
that.
I think if you like fail,
Uh-huh.
right, then you have to take it again for whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember taking it in high school. So I think it's 4th grade, 8th grade, and it has to be.
I didn't take it in high school.
I remember.
Or maybe
I remember
only-
us having
yeah.
this conversation
Yeah,
because
I
you
did.
had gotten. You were so proud of yourself. You went out and you got yourself like a pair of Docs or something.
Oh really?
Something
wait.
like that.
I think, but yes, the ones with the flowers. I think
Yeah.
on them. Yes. Oh
I
my
remember
gosh.
this. And like you wrote. I remember what you wrote about.
What did I write
You
about?
don't remember?
I don't remember.
Okay,
I just remember me getting a 5 because I do know that I got a 5.
So the prompt was to like write like who
You even
somebody
remember the prompt?
I do.
Oh my god, Crystal.
Because I remember what I wrote about because I got I'll tell you in a second. But I remember the prompt was somebody that you would like to meet or something like that. And you wrote about Tony Stark.
No
Do you
way!
remember? Yes, I
Oh
did.
my gosh,
You
Crystal!
remember
I
this?
don't know.
Oh my god, I remember because we were really into like the Avengers at the time.
Yeah.
And you wrote about Tony Stark, and I remember thinking, wow, I wrote about a real life person. Fuck, I should have done that. And I think your originality and like your creativity, I think that kind of like I think that kind of contributed to your 5. I do. I remember this like clear as day. I remember us standing outside of like the main office, and like we were talking about it.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
So was it just like, was there like a math one? Like did you have to take one for like
We
each?
did. Well, there were standardized tests every single year,
Yeah.
right? But
See, we had standardized testing, but it wasn't like that.
Florida
Yeah,
Rights
was-
Florida Rights was like I said, you did it every few years. So
Yeah.
I remember the first time we did it was like the 4th grade.
Right.
And you got a score out of 5 depending on how good like your paper was. And they took oh fuck, I forgot my train of thought. So they taught you like in the 2nd, 3rd, and like 4th grade how to write a paper. And then like the Florida Rights test, they would give you a prompt. They would give you I don't know like 90 minutes to write a paper, and you had to fit it in this like sheet of paper front and back, and you couldn't go past that, and it had to be like you had to have like 3 backing paragraphs. You had to have an intro, and you had to have
And
your
conclusion.
summary, your conclusion.
And they all had to have like at least a minimum of 3 details
Yeah.
each. Like it was
You
like
know-
See, we had stuff like that, but it was I can't remember what our standardized test was called. We had like these little blue books you had to write in for it and stuff like that, but I can't remember what those were
Well,
called.
we had standardized tests every year.
Right.
They were called the FCAT.
but the Florida Rights was just different
Yeah,
for
it was
whatever
different.
reason.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so interesting learning things like that from other states, like not being from here.
The reason I remember
I
this
don't
being
even
in high school.
I don't remember
the
any
reason
of that.
it was a little traumatic, but like no.
Oh my God.
That's dramatic. That's dramatic. Me saying it's traumatic. But I remember I wrote about Chris Motionless, who like.
Oh my gosh! Wait, why do I remember that?
Why do I remember that? Okay, do you remember what happened after it?
No.
Okay, so I talked about Chris Motionless. He is the lead singer in a band that I really loved in high school called Motionless in White. And
still good to this day.
They're so good. And so I wrote about like if I could meet one person, like I would want to meet him. And I, my paragraphs were like, he's very like he seems really down to earth. He's anti-bullying, and like he. I remember writing something about how like I was struggling with like self-harm and listening to Motionless in White music like just really helped me in a time where I was like having a hard time.
Yeah.
And I remember getting pulled out of class because when they had read my essay at the little Florida Rice factory, whatever the fuck it is, they sent an email to the guidance counselor, and they're like, "Hey, maybe you should look into this girl."
No way!
Oh my God.
Yes.
And my memory of high school sucks. Like,
I know.
it sucks.
Me too. I blocked it all out. But I remember getting pulled out of class. I went down to the guidance counselor's office, and she was like, "Hey, like I just really want to talk about what you wrote in your essay. You got a 4. I think it was like a 4.5.
Yeah.
And she was telling me, yeah, like it was really good. Like you're really like a great writer. However, we need to talk about like what you wrote." And I remember thinking that if this were like, if at this time I had actually been in a really like bad place again, because at the time that that she pulled me out of class, like I was doing a lot better. But I remember thinking, like, I could go home and, like, maybe I shouldn't say that. But
Right. No,
we understand
but,
what you're like.
She was, like, not helpful, like, at all. She comes in, she's like, yeah, like, I read your essay, it was really good. Like, I really wasn't going to pull you out of class, but then I saw, like, your grades, and my grades were struggling at the time because, like, a whole bunch of other stuff that was going on. And she says, what did she say? She says, yeah, like I said, I wasn't going to really say anything, but I noticed that your grades are low, so I just figured maybe I should check in. But you come in here and you have long sleeves, or you don't have long sleeves on, so you must be okay. Something to that sort, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was like, first of all, lady, I was doing it on the inside of my thighs. But like, yeah, and it was like I remember thinking like if I were really in a crisis, this would not be helpful.
No.
Yeah, and I was like, who let this lady be a guidance counselor? I still think about it to this day. Just like, yeah, but I mean, I turned out okay.
Oh my gosh! Why do I not remember like
I think I was too embarrassed to like even talk about it, and I still. To this day, like not a lot of people know
Did we talk about it?
I don't remember, truly and honestly. I feel like this was during that time period where you and I didn't have any classes together.
Right.
It was the 10th grade, 8th and the 10th grade.
Okay.
Where we didn't really have any classes together, and so like we had just kind of drifted apart.
Yeah.
And then I dropped out of school like the next.
I remember when you dropped out because I was so sad.
Yeah.
I was just like, bro.
Yeah.
Like, where's Crystal?
Oh.
Like, come on. I remember when me, you, and Corey had, you know what I mean?
This is gonna get so sad.
I know,
I'm so glad that we've reconnected.
I know, seriously. I'm glad.
Ew, don't make me cry.
Don't get emotional. But for real, because we were so close for so long, and then you guys just
yeah.
High school happened, and it was crazy. But
anyway, if I ever wrote anything, I mean, I have stuff written that I would like to one day maybe publish into an anthology of just weird little stories that I fucking write. I think that would be fun. Maybe I'll let you guys read it.
Wow. We totally went off topic.
A real long time. It's fine.
You can keep it
It's
of that
fine.
is-
I'm keeping most of it because it kind of does make sense with what we were talking a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess the book brought back memories.
Yeah.
I know. Well,
Yeah, clearly it did.
Yeah.
Who would've
It
thought?
clearly did.
Yeah, I forgot what we were talking about.
Which about the book
Okay.
Yeah.
and just how like you were writing, like you know what I mean? It just felt like
Oh, we were talking about how, like, you know, Hannah Grace, the author of Icebreaker, you know, kind of like used Anastasia as like a self-insert almost.
Right.
yeah,
And at least that's what I felt.
Right.
I felt that kind of way with. I feel that kind of way with a lot of books.
yes,
Like not to start any shit, but like I felt that way about the first Avatar book. You know, Feyre's just she's so frail and she's so skinny and she's so weak, but somehow she still has all this energy to go out into the woods and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
hunt things so that
Right.
the family doesn't die. Don't look at me like that. Laura took personal offense. Don't shit talk Feyre.
The high.
No.
I love her. I love
High
her.
lady.
I
High
love her.
lady.
Out of the sisters, I think Ines is the most interesting.
I
Yes.
fucking love Nessa. Okay.
we are not talking Avatar right now. No. I mean, going back to this one of the things I think that aggravated me the most, and me and you were talking about this.
Wait, we never did ratings.
We didn't do our rating? Yeah, we did.
Talk about a 3.
You said a 3, she said a 3, I said a 3.5.
Oh my
memory is
god.
horrible.
You guys went on such a tangent.
That happened 10 minutes ago. Are you okay?
Actually, it's been 20 minutes. You guys went on a 20-minute tangent.
Listen.
Look, my memory is.
Well, if anybody
horrible.
wants to listen to a little bit of background about me and Leah's relationship.
It's there.
If not, just skip forward.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say the one thing that really kind of aggravated me and you were talking about this. One, there are so many characters.
Yeah.
And they are so similar in some of the names.
Yes.
The amount of times I mixed up who Robbie and Bobby were.
Yes.
Because what? And also too, I don't give a fuck about your last name.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about a character's last name.
There were some instances where, like, I thought there were more characters than there were. Because
Yes.
they get called different names
Yes.
by different characters.
JJ and Jahal, and I was like, okay, is that two different people? And then I realized, no, it's the same fucking person.
Exactly. I was just like, bro, it doesn't need to be this confusing.
No.
Like, first off, you're calling them by last name.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they have a nickname.
Well, that's
Or
like,
all of a sudden they have a first name. You know
yes,
what I
and
mean?
that's like when I was talking to you the other day when we were talking about there was a scene in it where Anastasia and my god, what was his name? Nate were practicing the skating, and she like went to go get changed or whatever, and like the younger skaters were there.
Yeah.
And they were like whispering about how hot Nate is and oh my god. And then one of the like younger skaters turns around and goes, oh my god, they're probably hooking up behind Aubrey's back. And I'm sitting there going, who the fuck is I literally went up to Leah and Crystal and I was like, who the fuck is Aubrey? Who is Aubrey? Because if I'm his girlfriend and I'm walking around the corner and hearing these people go, oh, they're probably hooking me up behind Aubrey's back, I'm gonna turn the fuck around and go to him and be like, who the fuck is Aubrey?
Yeah.
Come to find out, Aubrey's the fucking coach.
Yeah.
Who they've been calling Brady the entire time.
Yeah.
It was just confusing. Like, the
was.
whole name.
It was very, very, very
Literally,
confusing.
Like, I'm gonna be 100. Like, I kind of just skimmed through these people's names and I just
Same.
looking forward
Because
to.
I'm sorry, they're interchangeable.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's
Yep.
nothing aside from like a set few characters. Like you could like switch out some of these characters' names and it would not change.
Yep.
No.
Personality is all the same. Like all everything that we hear about them is the same. Like there's no, like they're just I don't know. They're like faceless to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
for sure.
absolutely. Absolutely. I fucking hated Aaron.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't fucking stand
oh my
him.
Gosh, he
From
was
the
like,
beginning.
he just.
You said yes from the beginning. Like there wasn't even a part where I was like, oh, maybe he wants the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No. The entire time I really fucking hated
Yeah,
him.
he was horrible.
Fucking hated him.
And I don't even understand, like, I don't know, maybe it was like her own confidence issues, but she seemed like a confident person, but yet with him, it was just like, let him run all over her. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And not
I mean,
somehow have
that okay, I'm gonna defend that for a second because I think I think you can be like a confident person, but when you have somebody that's like, you know, emotionally like abusing you, like, you know, you can turn into a different person.
Very
And
true.
I think that she toned down her personality a lot around him.
Right.
Because of the way that he treated her and like talked to her and.
But then why even consider him a friend? Like that was, she considered him like
I
her
think-
friend.
I think because they were friends, it's like one of those things, and I know I've definitely had this happen with people who I've considered friends in my life, where it's like they were a friend for so long, and you saw so many of those good aspects of that
Right.
person that you in a sense
That's
you don't
true.
want to believe that they're not good.
I get that one.
You know what I mean?
get
So
that.
yeah, you're seeing these red flags, and yeah, you're being told, oh, hey, so-and-so is talking behind your back and so-and-so is doing this and doing that to you. You're like, okay, yeah, I get it, but we've had this and this and this, and we've had these good times and those good times. So it's like one of those things where it's like, do I really want to let them go? Because when the good times are good, they're really, really good type of thing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I guess I can kind of see that aspect.
Right. No, I get that 100%.
But I don't know, he was just
Personal
so,
experience.
Yeah.
yeah. I guess it's one of those things too, of like we're looking at it from the outside,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where yeah, if we're looking at it from the outside and we're like, oh, this is so absolutely ridiculous, why would
Compared
she
to
do
being,
that?
like, in it, right?
Exactly.
I get that, for sure.
So, I mean,
I felt like this book was just so, like, I don't know, just...
From what I read, it just felt like all over the place. Like,
yeah, and it was just, like, the ending was so cliche, like, it was just so, like...
How did it end? As somebody
So,
who didn't finish
well,
the book?
I mean, at one point I was like, what the fuck, not expecting that to happen with her falling through the ice.
Oh, yeah.
So she was like out on, they went to his house for Christmas and New Year's. And there's like this big, not even a pond, it's like, the way they were describing it is a fucking lake. And he goes out one morning, leaves her sleeping, like, oh, go ahead, you can go snoop through the house, have fun.
This was after they had already declared themselves, like, official.
Official,
right?
yeah, official
because,
boyfriend and girlfriend.
Because she just, like, would not commit. Like, she just had, like, commitment issues, but yet
Yeah.
they were committed. Like, it didn't...
Yeah, so no, they were officially official boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
They had flown to Washington State to see her parents for the holidays, for Christmas, and then they flew to Colorado. Is that where he was
I
from?
think so.
Colorado to see, like, or not even to see his parents, just to stay at his house.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they go to his house, and he like has to leave in the morning, like Christmas morning, basically, like go get her present. And he basically leaves her, and he's like, oh, you can go like snooping through the house. I know you want to snoop. And her bright idea, she's like, I'm gonna go skate on the lake like we did yesterday, and like doesn't tell him that though, like just goes.
Yeah.
And he like gets back to the house and calls her, and he's like, where are you? And she's like, I was trying to seduce a deer, but like you interrupted me. And he was like, what? Where are you? Like you're in the woods? And she's like, well, I'm skating like by the woods, like I was having my you know, Disney princess moment or whatever. And he like tries to like start telling her like it's not safe, and then the phone just like cuts out. And I was like, what the fuck? Like I didn't see that part coming, like I really didn't. Like I should have, because there had to be a fucking damsel in distress and she needed saving bullshit. So like she falls through the lake or whatever, and he like drags her out and like runs her back to the house and basically like strips her naked and throws her in the shower with like lukewarm water to like bring her temperature back up, and then drives her to the emergency room, and she's in the hospital for what, like a day and a half or some shit like that, and she's just like, I'm fine, can I go home? And he's like, no, you're gonna get checked out. It was very much like, yeah, like, yeah, you know?
Yeah.
So that I did not see coming. But remember how I said to you yesterday, I was like, I swear to God, if this book ends how I think it's gonna end, I'm gonna be so mad. And it did. It ended exactly how I thought it was gonna end,
Okay,
because
so how did you think it was gonna end?
she was gonna be pregnant.
Okay.
She was gonna have a fucking baby, and she's gonna be I will say the one thing I did not expect her to go to the Olympics.
Well, the thing
That I was not expecting.
I feel like they totally just like washed over that. Like
They did.
That was her whole premise. Like, was this big old career for herself. You know what I mean? And then they just fast forward like 3 years or whatever it is that she.
Well, it's like two and some. I think the last chapter says like 2 years and a bit or some shit like
Yeah,
that.
that's what I'm saying.
And she's
So
like,
you're telling me she
They
accomplished all
made
of
you
this?
sit through this entire
yes.
just for her to not go to the Olympics, but you don't get to read it?
Yes, exactly.
Nope.
Exactly.
Nope.
That's what I'm saying.
So the second to last chapter is Nathan's point of view. So chapter 50 is Nathan's point of view, and it's 3 months later. It's 3 months after them flying back from Christmas break.
Yeah.
And basically Skinner, who is the dean of sports or whatever he is, calls for a meeting with Nathan, and come to find out Aaron did not slip in the locker room and hurt his arm.
Yep.
He was playing football on the beach with his friends,
Yep.
and one of his friends tackled him, and that's how he hurt his arm. And he tried to blame it on Nathan so that Nathan would be the one to get in trouble for it.
Wow.
So hopefully he would basically get like kicked out or whatever, and then get away from Anastasia.
Wow.
So of course Anastasia, because Nathan finds this out, Nathan tells Anastasia tells Skinner. Skinner tells Nathan, this is being cleared from your record because clearly you didn't do anything wrong. And that Aaron, effective immediately, has transferred to UCLA.
Interesting.
Yeah. Also, too, before this, they go to nationals.
Yeah.
And they're skating at nationals, Aaron and Anastasia, and they finish their routine.
And it is perfect. It was
Immaculate.
beautiful.
They
It was
rated
amazing.
highest out of everybody who had gone so far.
And then you're gonna sit. I gasped.
Me too.
I was like, he did not. He turned around, and Aaron, at the very end, they finished beautifully. He turns around and kisses.
Grabs her face.
Yes!
And holds her in place, making out with her.
Cameras and everything everywhere.
Oh, God.
And I was so he
Mhm.
oh my.
And she quit. She quits right then and there. She tells, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. You find yourself a new partner.
Yeah.
If we place for nationals, she literally tells her coach, if we place for nationals, you tell them that I quit and I withdraw.
Yeah.
And that's how it ends. She drives home. Nathan drives her home. Lola and all the hockey guys are at Anastasia and Lola's apartment, moving them out when they get back. So they move them in with the boys.
That was just so that's just that was just so
uncalled for,
yes.
and cringe and rapey. It was
yes,
rapey.
exactly, totally without her permission. They never discussed it. It was never
No,
I was just wow.
it was
that's
rapey. It was
that.
disgusting.
Oh,
Disgusting. And then then you go 3 months later to Nathan being cleared and Aaron transferring schools, and then it's not even the last chapter, it's the epilogue. And it's Anastasia, and it says 2 and a bit years later. And it opens up with her going in to meet Dr. Andrews, her therapist, for a therapy session. And it literally says, don't worry, I assure him, pushing myself up from my chair. My ankles are so swollen, it's nice to sit down. Well, you're definitely glowing if that makes you feel better. Pregnancy suits you. And so she's...
I was so, come on, girl.
I was like, are you for real? Are you for real? I knew it was gonna happen.
23?
Yes.
She's so young.
No.
And then it just skims over.
her entire, the thing that she's been working for
Yeah.
this whole time.
But
yes, it was wrong. It was wrong for Erin to, do that, right?
Yes.
But, she's gonna throw it all away because
Yes.
of her bad partner.
Yes.
But she went, apparently she went to the Olympics in the
Yeah, 'cause
2
it's-
years
yeah.
beforehand.
It talks about she placed gold in singles.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Nathan won the Stanley Cup. Of course they fucking did.
Yeah, that. But to me, it was just it was so washed over. This biggest accomplishment of her life, the whole reason she put up with Aaron in the first place and stuck, to it for so long. They were just it's
Yeah.
okay. She accomplished everything she wanted to in 2 years, got pregnant, and then gets engaged.
Yep.
And then it's
They go on. JJ and his partner, whichever I forgot what the partner's name was, plan them a baby moon to this resort, and they're having their fancy dinner that night, and Aaron or Nate, whatever his fucking name is, Nate stands up and kneels down and proposes to her, and it's just she's like, oh my god, yes, and I'm just It was so fucking cliche.
Yeah, like listen, I don't mind them staying together. Like that was fine. I knew that was gonna happen anyway. But the way that they just like rushed everything in the end and just like oh she won a medal at the Olympics and she accomplished everything she wanted to in 2 years and boom and now she's pregnant and she's getting married. Like it was just
as
like
if that's all there is to life.
Right. I was just like, come on, like she's an Olympic gold medalist. Like come on.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. And plus, first off, the whole plot of this book was like more than halfway through it.
Yes.
But I don't even think that was like a plot.
There really wasn't I don't feel like there was a plot. I don't feel like there was any plot whatsoever. And I told you guys this what was it, yesterday or the day before? And I still can't remember what the name of this movie was. There was a Disney Channel movie where a girl was a figure skater and then there was a girls' ice hockey team and they had to share a rink and the figure skater became an ice hockey player and she was teaching them her ways and all this shit. It reminded me of that, but this book had sex in it. It was
I don't know. It was just so...
There was no plot. There was no point.
Yeah.
It was just...
The beginning was so... the first whole half of the book was just them like...
I hate you. Well, I love you and I'm going to make you love me, but I still hate you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hate you in person, but behind closed doors, I'm going to let you fuck my brains out. Like, what the fuck?
And get to like midpoint, like a little bit past midpoint, then he becomes her partner just to help her.
Yeah.
While Aaron like heals. You know what I mean? And that's what's literally on the back of the book. That's what it says.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like he's there to help her, kind of thing. It was like for 2 seconds.
Wow.
For like 2 seconds, and then it just. I was like, bro, no. I did not. Like I said, I rated it 3. It wasn't like. As we're trash talking now.
I know, right? As we're sitting here trash talking the whole thing. Like I said, it kept my attention.
Yeah.
Was it a book where I was like reading it and I was like, fuck this, I really don't want to finish this?
Yeah.
No. I liked it. There were some parts I tabbed in here that have like little blue things and it was literally, I literally labeled it haha because it was actually really funny, some of the shit that like she would say and stuff like that. Like, it was just like, there were funny parts. But
it just reads like it was made for really like horny people.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know. I don't love that. Like I'm not going into a book like trying to like read it for the smut aspect. Like if it's a good book and it's got a good plot and it just so happens to have smut, great.
Right. Exactly.
But I'm not going in there like trying to read something horny.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I was like.
That's why I said it's not my type of book. This isn't a book that I would grab for.
Which I love a good contemporary romance, but this was no romance. I did not feel like there was any. It was just lust.
Yes.
Yeah. It was just lust.
Yes.
Like there was no romance whatsoever.
Because I mean, he's like, in the end, they get to being where they quote unquote love each other. But to me, from his point of view, it just felt like she hates me. Well, I'm gonna do everything I can in my power to make her love me, which to me is very stalkery, rapey, type of creeper vibes. But then
let's also note the fact that he was totally into Summer.
Yes.
At the very beginning and wanted her for ever.
Well, didn't they talk something too about his body count being super fucking high?
Yeah.
He had slept with almost every girl on campus or some shit like that. That's fucking gross.
That's not sexy.
No, it's not. That's disgusting. You probably have STDs and STIs.
I mean, I'm not trying to shame people who like to get it on or like to do it or whatever. It's just that's not hot to me. Whenever because it just what makes Anastasia different from any other girl that he could have had.
Exactly.
It's because she didn't want him.
Yes.
That's literally why he wanted her. Yes, was because she didn't want him.
But the sad part, I mean, you guys know my dating life right now fucking sucks. But that's literally what it's real life.
Yeah.
These guys that you are actually into and actually try to have genuine conversations with and get to know want fucking nothing to do with you, but the guys that you completely ignore and are a bitch to and leave on delivered for 14 hours are like, give me, love me, I want to talk to you. It's like, what the fuck?
God, get the hint.
Like, what the hell?
Yep.
You know, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess
Nathan also kind of just got on my nerves a little bit. Like, especially, like, just his, like, ego was so
Yes.
just, like...
him calling her baby every 5 seconds too was pissing me the fuck off.
Yes! Oh my gosh. I just...
It's okay, baby. Come here, baby. I'm gonna throw up.
He was just annoying, especially when he, like, couldn't seem to understand that she was doing this for herself.
Yes.
Like, going back to being Aaron's partner.
Yes.
For herself.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Not for him, not for to try to sugarcoat everything he's done, but for her, you know, for her career.
Yes.
And he was being a total baby about it. Like, dude, just
Yes.
grow up. No, I can't. I didn't care for the characters. It was like an okay book.
It was just very surface level. Like,
Yes.
you didn't get into any of the deeper things.
Yep.
No,
And
not
there
at all.
was no, like,
Yep.
substance.
Yeah, I felt no connection
Oh,
to
yeah.
to any of them whatsoever. No connection.
For sure. 100%.
Yeah.
No connection.
That's
Take
how-
a recommendation from the top ever.
Yeah, that was. Well, I mean, I have some book talkers that I know they're gonna recommend me some really good books.
That's true.
Mhm.
You
That's
know,
true, yeah.
like what's her name? Is it Lexi? I think it's Lexi.
Mhm.
I think her name is Lexi, and it's literally just Lexi, but like all spaced out.
Uh-huh.
Her like book recommendations.
And I feel like some of them have some good recommendations, but yeah, some of them I'm like, ooh, let's take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
You know,
no, yeah.
like I said, I don't know. It kept my attention. Not my cup of tea. Not the type of book that I normally gravitate to. I read it because, not throwing shade at you, but because Crystal recommended it and Crystal wanted to read it for this episode.
Yeah,
And I
Will I ever read this again?
No.
Absolutely not.
yeah. Same.
It's gonna sit on my shelf. It's
And
just
I
gonna
wouldn't recommend
chill.
it to others.
No, I would not recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it.
either.
I mean, maybe if you like the smutty, I don't have to deeply think about a book
Right.
as I
Yeah.
read it
Very,
type,
very
then
much.
sure.
I just
no
I
thoughts.
I just vibes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure. It was just not it for me. So no more Hannah Grace books, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
At least for me.
Not going for it. But yeah, so I guess that's everything here. Oh wait, one more point. I just looked down and where they want to make. I fucking loved Henry.
Oh yeah, I know.
Actually, so I will say there was one character
Yeah.
that I kind
He
of
was
did.
So chill.
Yes, I
Yeah.
he was like this cutesy little, like, I just wanted to protect him at all costs
Okay,
and just
see,
like,
why couldn't she make her main character like that?
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like he was.
If Nate was Henry's personality, I would have been
Yes.
perfectly fine
yeah,
with that.
exactly, right? Like he was so sweet and caring and
Yes.
understanding, but yet he was also manly enough to just kind of
Yes.
get business done. Like it was just like it was that perfect
Yes.
in between. And
I loved Henry.
Yeah.
I loved him, and
He
I'm
was
so
a good
happy
book,
that Nate picked him as like
And
to
why not
be
make-
captain.
why not make the second book about
Henry? Exactly.
Russ? Who
I
cares?
don't give a fuck. Russ was barely mentioned in this book.
Exactly, like who
Barely
cares?
mentioned in it. I would have loved to. If she had made the next book about Henry, I would have 100% said we need to read that
Yes,
for a podcast.
Exactly.
I would have 100% read that book.
Yeah.
But I'm not reading one about Russ. I don't
Russ?
give a fuck about him.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care either.
I do really like this, like, I don't know if it's like a trend. I like it when there are books in like the same like kind of universe with like different characters.
Ooh,
I do like that
yeah,
too.
So
me
like you know, Wildfire comes after this one, and that's about, you know, two other characters in
Right.
this book.
Oh, you know
Um,
what you would love?
What?
Anything by Anna Hong. Everything is in like one universe.
Oh.
Everything in her.
Interesting.
Oh.
Everything.
Well, I mean, that's what is like essentially the Dark Olympus series,
Mhm.
which I will get into that at some point. I don't love that series. I thought Neon Gods was trash. But I like that like I can open like Wicked Beauty and like there are characters there and that I like recognize.
yeah.
I don't know if there's like a name for when this happens. I just like it. I like
Yeah.
I do. I mean, I
I
have
do
to
too.
agree with you because I do too.
Yeah, same.
I definitely
Like,
do too.
As I said, I read almost not all of Anna Hong's books, but all of them are in the same universe. All the characters like somehow like just, you know, make a
Mhm.
sneak peek here and there, and it's good. I like it. And those are good books. Those are good books. I like them. At least I like them.
Twisted Love.
Huh?
Never finished it.
That was no.
I don't know.
No, listen. No. Twisted Love is really like that one's like the beginning. Like it's just not. And then honestly, from the Twisted series, the only one that's really worth like actually taking the time to read is the second one, which is Twisted Games.
Okay.
And I love King of Wrath. Did you like King of Wrath?
I didn't read it.
Oh, you didn't read it? That one's good. I did like King of Wrath, but yeah.
Okay.
I do feel like they have a lot more plot
than this.
than Icebreaker did. And the spice is really good too. So I like it.
The one thing, books like, if we're reading another book like this, I need a pre-warning because I cannot read it in public.
You can't hide your facial
I can't hide my facial expressions. It's so bad. Like I said, I was literally at work in the back room reading this, and my face was just like, I was like mortified at some points because I could swear if anybody walked by and like noticed my face, they'd be like, "Ooh, she's reading about somebody getting dicked down."
Yeah, we leave our books on the back table at work. And
Yeah, we know you do.
Literally, if you're gonna be nosy, I can't be responsible for what you're gonna see.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
I took freaking Haunted Ally to work.
Yeah.
Like an idiot. Like an idiot. I'm just sitting there just like reading like
Yeah.
just looking.
Well, I was reading Clown in a Cornfield at work one day, and Krista
I walked
walks
by the corner. Nicole's like completely her face is like completely slack. She's just like looking, and she's like
mouth wide open, catching flies. Like, yeah, I cannot control what my mouth does when I'm like, or my face at all.
as long as you've ever been quiet.
I know.
You're welcome.
All right, but I think that's everything that I have for this book.
Yep.
What about yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
No other thoughts.
Yeah, it was a trash book, but I rated it a 3. So
Yeah.
I mean,
It was one of those books, when you mindlessly just want to read something, but you don't feel like
This
deeply.
Kind of like something you read after something breaks you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
for sure.
Absolutely.
I didn't read this book, so I have no thoughts. But you're all right.
Okay, thanks. If there's anything that, again, as per usual, anything that we did not touch base on that you want us to touch base on, anything that we didn't talk about this book that you're like, wait a second, what about this? Go ahead and follow us on Instagram and go ahead and leave it in a comment underneath this post. And again, also leave your recommendations for books. We have no set genre that we read. We read pretty much everything. So go ahead and leave those recommendations down below and we will definitely take them into account. Make sure that you follow us on all of our social medias. Follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, subscribe, do it all. And we will be back in 2 weeks with another episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.